As May continues, so does the severe weather here. We're starting to see some pretty favorable conditions for some severe weather development here for portions of the tornado alley later this week here, and to possibly Friday and Saturday. And we do already have a 15% chance highlighted from the SPC for day 4 here. So very interesting scenario here. In this video, we're looking at the details, timing, and as well location for the severe weather. But without further ado, let's get into the forecast. So here's a look now at what we have so far on the SPC forecast. So again, we do have a 15% chance highlighted for around 4.3 million people right now, including areas such as Kansas City and as well including areas in Joplin. So we do have a 50% chance, which does mean slight risk for a pretty decent area kind of right there into the edge of Tornado Alley, including eastern Kansas, north central and northwest, north central and northeastern Oklahoma, and as well portions of western and western Missouri there. That's kind of we're going to be looking at for the severe weather, at least for now here. Obviously, this slight risk will most likely extend as we get further closer, and as well watching whether we can get an enhanced risk here. That's going to be definitely the question as of right now. So Kansas City, Wichita, Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas, and Topeka, Kansas is exactly where we'll be watching for the severe weather as of now in the highlighted areas. Let's go ahead now look at the model to see and exactly what we'll be watching out for. But again, we're really looking for the severe weather within this area here. So if you live within this region, this highlighted area, I would definitely recommend watching the rest of the video. And if you know anybody within this highlighted area, I would recommend that you share them this video so they can get, updates on this severe weather here. And it's going to definitely be possibly a pattern like this throughout the whole month of May here. So keep your seatbelts on because it's going to be the possibly beginning of this tornado alley, activity. So let's now go ahead and look at the European model since it is a little too far away to look at the HRR or NAM, anything like that. So let's go ahead and stick with the global models, at least for today here. But by 5 in the morning, here's Saturday. So Saturday is going to be the day for some severe weather. So Saturday is a day where we have a 15% chance. So that's exactly where the time frame we'll be watching here. So Friday in the morning, we're going to see some severe weather there across Kansas, Missouri, and kind of those highlighted areas, but that's not obviously going to be the main system there. The main system is going to be as we go later now into the actually overnight hours until 11 o'clock is kind of when this will start to ramp up here all the way from southeastern Nebraska there, portions of north central Kansas. So it's going to be a pretty big overnight right here. I mean, we're talking literally overnight, and there's going to be pretty favorable conditions overnight, believe it or not, here across these areas, specifically across southeastern Kansas and portions of northeastern Oklahoma there. But by 2 in the morning here, that's when you start to see that severe weather there. So it's going to kind of be through Saturday evening to Sunday morning here. So some pretty intense severe weather possibly across much of eastern and central Kansas, as well as some storms into portions of Missouri, Iowa, and as well portions of southeastern Nebraska. Let's not go later. I don't want to do that. Let's go down later on. By 5 in the morning, and then you see those very intense storms there just south of Kansas City, and making its way towards southeastern Kansas and southwestern Missouri. But overall, we're going to be seeing some pretty large area of some type of severe weather. So there's definitely going to be a pretty large and I'd say expanded margin risk for by the time this gets to day 1, and possibly a pretty widespread slight risk for maybe an enhanced risk likely. And by 11 in the morning here on Sunday, we're going to still see some severe weather there across portions of the south central, even maybe to the Ohio Valley. So we may be seeing another severe weather threat as we do get later now into Sunday evening, possibly some more severe weather there across areas of western Dixie Valley and the south central. That does not look too extremely significant just yet here, and it'll carry on to bring in some slight severe weather, but mainly some rain there across portions of the deep southeast. Let's now go ahead and look at the temperature outlook. Let's go ahead and look at the temperatures on Friday evening here, Friday afternoon. Some pretty warm temperatures across portions of the central plains, getting 70s from the Gulf Coast up to portions of Montana. So overall, pretty warm central United States here. We will be seeing a little cold front, though, kind of for portions of the Great Lakes that will bring in some cold air a little bit to the north here, keeping this severe weather, limited across this region here and kind of staying out of Iowa and Nebraska, really. But still seeing some 80s and 90s from portions of the south central on Friday. And let's now go ahead and look at Saturday. So by Saturday around 12 o'clock, already getting up into the 80s and 90s across New Mexico and portions of Texas. But overall, it's still getting some pretty warm temperatures by noon, getting into the upper 70s and lower 80s across Oklahoma and portions of Kansas. Let's now go ahead and by 3 o'clock, we're seeing a big warm up for these areas here, specifically Kansas now getting into the 90s near Dodge City there, getting up into the mid 80s. We'll be watching for that severe weather there near Wichita. And as you get to around 7 o'clock, that's when that severe weather will start again across Nebraska. But as you do see, we will see some storms in these areas, but look at the cold temperatures into the upper 50s here. So we're not going to be anything too crazy, just possibly some rain or raw with that severe weather down here into the more favorable conditions. But let's now go ahead and take a look at the real-time temperatures by 10 o'clock. Still seeing some mid 70s and upper 70s across Kansas and portions of Oklahoma. And by midnight here, still seeing some pretty good temperatures into as low as 70 degrees to as high as 80 degrees within the Oklahoma region. Because again, this is 50% chances to cover portions of northeastern Oklahoma, and it'll most likely extend to the OKC region by the time we get closer. And let's go now by 2 in the morning here. Still really good temperature by 2 in the morning. And that's kind of where we'll be watching that severe weather for these areas. So believe it or not, 2 in the morning, still some really good temperatures into the upper 70 or into the upper 70s, nearly 78, 79 degrees, and then some lower 70s near 73. And about 5 in the morning here, so watching for that severe weather across areas such as southeastern Kansas and southwestern Missouri, still seeing some upper 60s and lower 70s. So overall, watching out for some pretty good conditions overnight. And as well, maybe some severe weather for portions of western Dixie Valley into the 70s and nearly 80 degrees. And we are going to be seeing some severe within the region, so keeping a close eye on maybe for those areas near Dixie Island, the deep south, for Sunday into Monday. Let's look at the dew point here to see how that cold front will affect the dew point numbers and how high or low will they be within the region here. So about 9 o'clock on Friday, which is going to obviously be the day before that severe weather starts, we're going to be seeing some 60s and 50s there, so not going to be seeing too crazy or anything too high. But as we now go later now to Saturday by 12 o'clock, going to start getting some 50s and 60s there across Kansas. And now by 8 or 10 o'clock here, we're missing a little bit better conditions. But again, the dew points aren't that crazy. You kind of want to see those mid and upper 60s, maybe even lower 70s. But we're kind of sticking around the lower 60s. So dew points really won't be that high until the 5 a.m. time frame on Sunday morning. That's where we'll be seeing our best dew point numbers up into the mid 60s and upper 60s, all the way from portions of east central Oklahoma up into portions down there into southeastern Kansas. So this is going to be the main area I'd say to watch out for the best conditions overall within the region here, including, of course, the dew points. And as we now go later on into now 11 in the morning, those dew points will obviously increase, a lot more warmer temperatures, and of course raising the threat maybe for some severe weather. Once again for Dixie Alley there, up into the dew points in the upper 60s and lower 70s. Let's now go ahead and look at how that'll affect the Cape values. So by 5 o'clock here on Saturday, the Cape values are overall pretty low. But again, remember, this is all going to be capped out until really the really overnight hours here. So our highest Cape values will kind of stick around there across portions of Kansas, maybe some decent numbers near Texas, but overall struggling to get past 2,000 joules per kilogram by 5 o'clock. You're probably thinking, how is there going to be some severe weather? Or I guess, confident for maybe an enhanced if the Cape values are this low when it's already in the evening hours. How can they possibly increase? But again, like I did say, the conditions will be pretty good overnight. Actually, they're going to get better the more we go into the overnight hours. The higher the Cape values will get. By 9 o'clock here, getting some Cape values here possibly up into the 2,400 joules per kilogram, 2,300. And of course, that severe weather really won't actually get, severe or widespread until the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock time frame for Eastern time here. And this is 11 o'clock Eastern. You can see now getting nearly 2,600 joules per kilogram there across Oklahoma and portions of southern Kansas. As we now get to 2 in the morning here, some pretty good, decent numbers there for southeastern Kansas, north central and northeastern Oklahoma, getting over 2,000 joules per kilogram, and as high as possibly 2,300 joules per kilogram. So that's actually not too shabby. But look at by 5 in the morning, actually increasing to 2,400, and then by 8 in the morning, getting as high as possibly 2,600 joules per kilogram. As well, watching out for that severe weather maybe into portions of western Dixie Valley there, maybe Louisiana, maybe a little bit Texas, and as well Arkansas and Mississippi there. Let's now go ahead and look at the K index here, the probability in general to see for some severe weather conditions. By 2 o'clock here on Saturday, we're going to be seeing some really low numbers because, like I did say, it's all going to be kind of capped out until the evening hours. By 8 o'clock, we get a lot better numbers, up to a 41 there across north central Kansas. But notice how there's a sharp cutoff within the 40s to the teens, and that's because how cold it's going to be or how cool it'll be there. Low dew points, low temperatures, overall not pretty good conditions. So we're going to be seeing a sharp cutoff on probability for some severe weather. Obviously, there will be some scattered storms, maybe a few thunder or something like that. Mainly going to be some rain showers, but obviously that's why there's such a sharp cutoff for this severe weather risk, and then really unfavorable conditions or almost impossible conditions for severe weather, and that'll be anything north of Kansas, anything north of Missouri, so Nebraska, Iowa. I mean, maybe the far Omaha region, like far southeastern Nebraska, may be included into this 15% possible by day 3. But other than that, he won't go any more north. But by 11 o'clock here, getting a 41 there across central and portions of eastern Kansas, which is exactly what we're watching out for that severe weather. And of course, later on, now by 5 in the morning, getting up to a 42 there, just into southeastern, deep southeast Kansas. That's going to be the really big area to really watch out there. As well as some decent numbers moving to Missouri. And as well as we go later on, we're going to be seeing as well possibly some favorable conditions for severe weather for western Dixie Valley, but we'll get to that possibly tomorrow here. Let's though go ahead and look at the shear before we look at the cap values and look at some soundings here. So let's go ahead and look at the shear values on 925 millibars. So basically nearly the surface here. So by 11 in the morning, we're going to be seeing kind of strong low jet coming from the southwest there, kind of dipping the jet stream to bring us in possibly some nice amount of shear there. So by 11 in the morning, of course, we're going to be seeing anywhere from maybe 35, maybe anywhere from 40 knots down there into the deep south. But let's now go ahead and look towards the time frame. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be seeing some shear there for Oklahoma and Texas mainly, and as well for areas kind of just between where we have that main area to watch out for. But getting as high as maybe 39 knots. Not going to get anything too crazy, but by 11 o'clock, going to get a lot more shear here, getting up to 45 knots across Oklahoma there, getting nearly 35 to 38 knots down there to southeastern Kansas as well. By 2 in the morning and 5 in the morning, and get some as well some pretty good shear to 50 knots nearly across Oklahoma and Texas, with southeastern Kansas seeing some areas of over 40 knots. So overall, the values shear-wise won't be too crazy for Kansas, but there will be some pretty good numbers there for Oklahoma. But again, the shear values aren't they're not, I guess, crazy high, but they're also, I mean, not too low. They're kind of right in the Durham minimum, basically. So it's like, it kind of will support it, but also like not like a crazy outbreak. But definitely, there is definitely shear values to support severe weather, but nothing too crazy outbreak-wise. At least what we think so far. Obviously, it's still 4 days out, so shear values can change, location can change, but we're gonna have to see here. But let's now go ahead and look at some soundings in the CAD values here on Pivotal Weather. So this is going to be, look at the CAD values here. So this is going to be by the 18Z, so I believe 4 or 5 o'clock here. Central Time, you see a lot of cap, specifically there where we're watching for that severe weather, right here within the regions here, getting up to possibly negative 3,000 there, joules per kilogram, maybe even higher than that. But we're going to be seeing some scatter areas and the portion of the south is eastern, central, Kansas. We can maybe get some storms again, marginal severe weather risk there across southeastern Kansas. Maybe some small storms popping off. Maybe you see them again, marginal 1,500 Cape. I mean, there is negative 32 cap, but again, storm stability is very low. Overall, it's not looking that good, as well as shear is pretty low as well. So overall, not looking too good by 18Z, even the areas that aren't having that much cap. But a huge dramatic decrease in cap values by 21Z here. So we kind of see that cap breaking off and capping off here. Look at the huge decrease now, getting a lot of areas where we had that 50% chance that is less than 100, negative 100 joules per kilogram. You can kind of see some pretty good numbers down there in central Kansas, getting a marginal severe risk there. A lot, I guess, a little bit better Cape values here, but let's go ahead and look at severe risk there. 2,100 Cape there, negative 14 cap, so pretty good there. Storm SRH is a little bit better, 112, still not that good. Negative 8 lifted index, so there is definitely some type of instability in the atmosphere, but shear is still not that good. I mean, we don't get over 34 knots until 6 kilometers in the atmosphere. As well, we're not looking at anything too crazy on the rotation or anything spin the atmosphere on the photograph. Let's now go for, again, east central Kansas, marginal severe weather risk there. Let's go towards kind of central Kansas again. Not going to be any severe weather, kind of tight cutoff there possibly there in central Kansas. Let's now go look at portions there in Oklahoma. Marshall tornado threat there, 2000 Cape, -19 cap. We are going to be seeing a little bit better SRH there at 143. Shear is a little bit better, 40 knots there near 6 kilometers. A little, still not too anything crazy on the hodograph. But let's not go for again north central Oklahoma. So this is 21Z here, 3000 Cape, 0 cap. SRH is at 160, so that's not a bad. Actually, the hodograph is not a bad reading at all. You kind of go up there and to the right. So there is definitely possibly some spin in the atmosphere for sure. There is actually a superset composite number of 13. As well, lifted index at -9, so there is some decent spin in the or not spin in the atmosphere. There's definitely some instability here between the air molecule and the area surrounding it. So there is definitely some areas to watch out for that region right near Oklahoma and Kansas border. Near southeastern Kansas, 2,300 Cape, 0 cap, -7 lifted index. So again, overall some instability. However, SRH is pretty low, and Shear is a little bit less intense than it was near Oklahoma. But let's not go ahead and look by 0Z. That's when things get a little bit more severe. Look at south central and southeastern Kansas, marginal tornado threat there, 2,500 K, -76 cap, which is not bad at all. SRH is at 260, so a lot better reading there. Actually an 18 on supercell composites. There's definitely a pretty good hodograph reading going straight up and then to the right. But yeah, I mean, LFC is actually pretty high there to 3 kilometers. Overall, we're seeing as well a ton of precipitated water. BR Shear is not bad. The Storm Slinky is not looking that impressive, but look at the STP, they're up to a 2.7. And so look at north central Oklahoma. We are getting a marginal tornado risk here, 2,200 K. However, there is a pretty decent amount of cap. But look at SRH 312. So we're seeing some really high storm relative helicity, storm relative helicity numbers here. 16 on the supercell composite. Shear isn't that bad actually. Look at 3 kilometers, 41 knots. So that's actually not too shabby at all. Let's now go towards southeastern, just outside, I guess, Topeka region. We are getting a tornado risk there. 1,700 K, -39 cap. SRH is at 185. Shear could be a lot better though. I mean, the shear could be a lot better. Oops, I don't want to do that. Let's not go back here. Let's go back to Saturday. Actually, let's go back to Saturday 0Z again. Really watching out. Let's go now to central Kansas, see what we got there. Again, by that point, we will have to see some cap in that region there near north central Kansas. Let's now go ahead and look at far northeastern Oklahoma. It's by 0Z, marginal tornado risk, 1,400 K. SRH is not too shabby. And let's now go into the morning hours here by 3Z. Again, that's going to also be capping out. So really watching out between 21Z and 0Z. Definitely in pretty good condition. After that, it starts to really cap out, and you kind of see no severe weather risk here really whatsoever. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later. And of course, enjoy your day, and I will have more updates on this severe weather by tomorrow.